Hey there, it's Cory Bretz here from Heirloom Films and Storybooks. I'm out here in Qualicum Beach. One of the first places I always visit when I get to a town is the cemetery. I know it seems a little odd, but you know, I've been fascinated by cemeteries. Why? Well, because in these cemeteries there are memorials and graves dedicated to all sorts of people, amazing people who've lived before us and had amazing lives. And so I just love to come here and try to get a sense of who's here and who's come before us. These are the ancestors of all sorts of people who have passed away. And when you look at some of these gravestones, you can see they're covered in moss, and they are covered in dirt, and haven't really been even cared for by a family member. And this is actually that surprising. Sometimes in families everyone's passed on, and so the descendants of these people are also in the ground somewhere. But there's also people here who their families are still around. There's grandchildren, there's great-grandchildren. And so I think that the stories of these people are super important because they are inspiring. Today's generation of kids is dealing with all sorts of situations, global situations that are life-threatening, threatening the planet, threatening the species, and they need to be creative, and they need to be engaged, dynamic, bold, courageous, and a lot of the ancestors who are buried here, right here in Qualicum Beach, are heroes. Like right behind me there's the cenotaph that is in honor of those who lost their lives in Canada's wars, basically World War I, World War II, Korean War, and then also peacekeepers. Canada's had a huge peacekeeping contingent all around the world. It's connected through the UN and NATO, and so to know that right here in this hallowed ground there are those who have survived the odds, and then lived lives and come back and then been buried here, laid to rest. It tells anybody that you can get through it. You can survive, you can overcome, you can be brilliant and talented and creative and loving and accepting. And so that's partly why I love graveyards. Perhaps there's stories of these folks that need to be immortalized in film or video, same thing, or a book, storybook, bedtime storybook, whatever, a family history book, and those stories then get given to the grandkids, the great-grandkids, perhaps who aren't even born yet, to remind them that they come from a long line of amazing people. They are the product of the very finest, the very best, the very boldest, the very most magnificent people, their own ancestors. And so it gives them encouragement, it gives them strength, it gives them perhaps even a sense of purpose and meaning. And so I'd be so thrilled to help any family who has ancestors here at Qualicum Beach Municipal Cemetery to honor and pay tribute to those ancestors. So I'm Cory Bretz from Heirloom Films and Storybooks. Who's going to tell your story?